In a world that often feels overwhelming, we find ourselves asking not just how to feel better, but how to make sense of the pain we carry. There's a quiet kind of suffering that doesn't scream, doesn't ask for attention, but simply exists, sitting at the edge of our everyday lives. In today's video, we're exploring one of the most difficult yet most human challenges: how to find meaning in suffering, and what that search tells us about mental health, purpose, and resilience. Suffering is universal. No one escapes it. It takes many shapes: loss, failure, shame, illness, rejection, depression, anxiety. For some, it comes suddenly, like an unexpected wave. For others, it's more like a slow erosion. What breaks one person may not even register for another. Pain is personal, shaped by context, memory, and biology. But no matter how it appears, one thing is always true: suffering isolates. It can make the world feel fragmented, even senseless. But the pain itself isn't what undoes us. It's the sense that it doesn't mean anything, that we're hurting for no reason. And this is where the mind begins to lose footing. When suffering feels random or empty, mental health unravels. We don't just want comfort, we want coherence. We need to know our struggle fits somewhere in the story of our lives. This idea isn't just philosophical, it's psychological. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust, observed that people can endure almost unimaginable hardship if they believe there is a purpose behind their pain. Those who have a why to live, he wrote, can bear almost any how. What he meant was simple, but profound. When we can connect our pain to meaning, we gain strength. Without that connection, even mild suffering becomes unbearable. So the essential question is not why do we suffer? That question may never be fully answered. The more useful question is, how can I make this suffering meaningful? The first step is to shift our mental posture. When we ask only why is this happening to me, we position ourselves as passive recipients of misfortune. It's a fair question, but it traps us in helplessness. The more helpful question is, given that this is happening, what now? What can I do with this pain? What might it teach me, shape in me, or demand of me? This is where agency begins. Suffering doesn't disappear, but it stops being meaningless. Next, we must ask, what actually matters to me? In moments of pain, clarity can emerge. Pain strips away illusion. When we are suffering, we discover which values survive the fire. Is it kindness, courage, truth, loyalty, creativity? These aren't just abstract virtues. They become anchors. And holding to our values when it would be easier to collapse is itself an act of meaning. It says, "Even now I know who I am." Then we turn outward. Meaning expands when suffering is connected to something beyond the self. People who survive and grow through pain often do one or more of the following. They help others, they create something honest, or they speak the truth of their experience. When your pain can prevent someone else's or make them feel less alone, it doesn't vanish, but it transforms. You become more than what happened to you. Another way we find meaning is through storytelling, not fantasy, but how we make sense of our own life. Psychologists call this narrative identity. It's the story we tell ourselves about who we are, where we've been, and what we're becoming. The stories we create shape how we experience reality. You can say, "This broke me," and stop there. Or you can say, "This broke me, and I rebuilt." Meaning doesn't lie, it doesn't sugarcoat, but it frames things in a way that honors pain and still makes movement possible. Finally, we have to be honest. Some suffering resists explanation. Some wounds won't make sense, not today. maybe not ever, but even the act of facing it, not turning away, is a meaningful act. Sitting in the discomfort and choosing not to numb it, that's courage. Saying, I don't understand this, but I will not abandon myself. That's resilience. Meaning is not always something we find. Sometimes it is something we build, slowly, painfully, piece by piece. And that leads us to mental health. Mental health isn't the absence of pain. It's not a perfectly smooth life. It's the capacity to live with suffering without being destroyed by it, to feel deeply and still choose to live with intention. Support systems, therapy, rest, and reflection. These are essential. But even more essential is the inner voice that whispers, I'm not okay, but I'm not done. This hurts, but I'm still here. That voice is the beginning of meaning. If you're struggling, know this: your suffering may not be your fault, but its transformation can be your task. You don't have to do it alone, and you don't have to do it quickly, but the meaning you seek isn't out there in some perfect life. It's here, in the middle of the mess, waiting to be uncovered, shaped, and lived. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and take care of your mind.